Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to the show on this 14th, December the 14th, a Monday. Listen, this is going to be some charting analysis tonight of Bitcoin, and I'm going to tell you guys what. I'm sorry for the lighting quality in here. My light bulb burned out, and because of COVID-19, I just can't run down to the hardware store quickly and pick a new one up. But I wanted to get this show here tonight, so sorry for the lighting quality. But anyway, let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on with these prices. Now, this is a long-term chart of Bitcoin. How do I get this out there? This is a long-term chart of Bitcoin going back. And what we can see is this is where we're at right now. This is where we're at right now at the price of 19,175. We can see it move quickly. It's moved quickly up to these prices from a medium price range of around 11,400. Right in here, it found a level. It was at a level of around 9,500, 94, 9,500. Went along for quite a ways at that price. And then it boosted up to the 11,400 mark. Stayed along there. So it was building two lines of support. So it's built these two lines of support. One line of support is in around 9,500, and the other line is, let me see, 9,500, yeah. And the other line of support is in here around 11,000, 11,000, more or less around 11,000 something, right around 11,000. Boosted up to this new level it is now, and now it's finding the line of support. Somewhere probably in around 18,800, 18,900, building the line of support. Now, what's happening in the world right now? We got the Federal Reserve and the stimulus. That's what boosted this up to where it is from this last line of support around 11,500. It's that stimulus that we got back in March. And this you're seeing the effect of the stimulus in the stock market. You're seeing the effect of the stimulus in the gold and silver price. You're seeing the effect of the stimulus in the Bitcoin price. But we're not seeing more stimulus yet. We're seeing the markets hold steady, or roughly trying to hold steady, on the hopes of bigger stimulus packages coming. In other words, they're front-running it. We got to think the way that the market thinks. And being as they're front-running this stimulus, but the stimulus is not available. Now, you get a downturn in the economy, the general economy, coming in because we've got a massive surge in these states who are now closing up due to virus regulations and stuff. And what we actually see here is an effect where it's kind of compounding. And in the next few months, probably between now and most of January, and so that's the rest of this month and mostly all of January, we're probably not going to see any major amount of a turnaround in the stimulus programs. But that's what's been feeding these markets. So we could get a drop-off in Bitcoin from this new line of support that it's built and established for itself in around 18,900, 18,800. We could see a drop down to where it would find a new line of support. Now, we see a drop here where it dropped down to 17,200, and we see a second drop here where it dropped down to around 18,000, and that just happened very recently. We see it could test these lines of support, and it could even drop lower if it breaks through these lines of support. And where would the next line of support be? At around 12,000. Okay, so do I think that's going to drop down to 12,000? No, I don't. I don't think it's going to drop that low in the next couple months before the next stimulus measures come out and stuff. Because I'm going to tell you guys what. They are HODL in Bitcoin more than they're HODL in the paper versions of gold and silver, which are SLV and GLD. They don't want to let go of their Bitcoin, more, just like they don't want to let go when they're holding real physical gold. I'm going to tell you, there's a difference between the GLD and the real gold. in your hand. They will let go of the GLD. They will let go of the SLV, right? But if they've got the physical in their hand, they don't like to let go. And it's the same way with Bitcoin. When they got real Bitcoin in their wallet and they got the private keys, they do not like to move it out of there. The general consensus is to hold it and not let go of it. And, you know, we got two companies. I think what are they, Square and PayPal or something? There's two companies out there who are buying most of the new Bitcoin being mined. And so with that going on, and institutional investors now starting to move into Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, we're probably not going to see these prices drop significantly, even though the general economy is deflating. So, but we could see a test of this bottom here, right here, where it dived down as low. These candles right here, it looks to me like they went down as low as around 16.4. So we could see a test of that in the next between now and around January, probably 20th. Or maybe the end of January. So let's just say the end of January. Between now and then the end of January, we could see a test of this bottom here of around 16.2. That's what I'm thinking could happen, you know. And so be aware of that. Right now, is this a good time to purchase Bitcoin? Well, you have to think to yourself in two ways. Number one, if you're a holder of Bitcoin, when this big move starts to come, when we start to head toward hyperinflation, is it really going to matter whether you paid $16,000 for it or you paid $19,000 for it? Consider that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. If Bitcoin goes to $300,000 when we start heading toward hyperinflation, when they get a central bank digital currency out there that's massively inflating the dollar, and the dollar and investors start to get scared and they start to run into Bitcoin, gold, and silver, how much is it going to matter to you if you paid $16,000 or you paid $19,000? So the thing is we could get a drop down to around probably $16,000. Could very well happen between now and January. It could even drop a little bit lower than that. You know, I mean, we could see it go down to the 15s. But is it really going to matter to you that much? If you got it for 15 or 19 when it goes up to 300,000. Think about that one for a minute, because that's very important in your consideration of whether or not you want to purchase Bitcoin right now. Now, I'm a person that believes that you should be probably accumulating a certain amount of Bitcoin in your portfolio, a certain percentage. And how you should do that is you should try to buy the dips. Do I think we're in a dip right now? Considering the situation that's happening in the economy right now, I do not think we're in a dip right now. No. In the short term, I would say no, we're not in a dip. Could it explode to the upside? Well, sure it could, but I don't really anticipate it exploding to the upside during this period of weakness between now and January, the end of January. So you probably got like 6 weeks to wait it out, and we're probably going to have to wait out this next 6 weeks with Bitcoin before it starts to really take off. Once these programs start to come in, central bank digital currency is going to be one of the big ones. And I can see them working on that once January's over. Into February, they could really put that out there really fast. They've got it's called the Freedom for Banking Act, I think it's called. No, Banking for All. It's called Banking for All Act. And basically what it's going to be is a digital currency. And what they're going to do is when the banks start to go under now, they're not going to do a bail-in. They're not going to do a bailout. What they're going to do is they know that the whole economy would completely collapse if they rely upon the FDIC to ensure your money that's in the bank if your bank goes under. because it's not there. They're going to replace it with the central bank digital currency. But there's going to be stipulations. They're going to say, hey, listen, guys, we'll make you whole. We know your bank just failed. We know all your deposits are in that bank, and say you got 200,000 there. We're not going to make you whole through the FDIC. We're going to make you whole through the new FedCoin, or whatever in the heck they want to call it. The new central bank digital currency. We'll probably just call it dollars. We'll make you whole, but in order for us to make you whole and give you your $200,000 in central bank digital currency, you've got to sign these papers and stuff. You got to give us your information. That's probably the way it's going to work. So anyway, that's what we're heading toward. And that money is going to be, from the central bank digital currency money, is going to be different than the money you're used to. You say, well, in what respect? In the respect that it is kind of like, it's not really got debt attached to it. It's kind of like what they released when they released the greenbacks, a long time ago, where you got a money that is just, they're just going to digitally create it. They're going to punch a bunch of numbers on the keyboard, and bang, the money comes into existence. Because they control the money, and they control the digital currency, and they can make as much of it or as little bit of it as they want. And it's a little bit hard for us to get our head around this, but that's where it differs from the money that's in existence now. All the money that's in existence right now all has a debt attached to it. And anyway, thank you guys for listening. And so think about, if you want to buy Bitcoin right now, think that you could get it a little bit lower. But you got to think long term, and so whatever Bitcoin you're holding, I would suggest that the best policy on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is to HODL until this stuff matures. It's going to mature in the next few years. There's going to be a lot of changes. And the people that HODL this stuff are going to make out like bandits, ultimately, in the end, Don't play this stuff in the short term. Don't try to make profits off of Bitcoin in the short term unless you're a trader, unless you really know what you're doing. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.